YouTube, what is good? It's your boy Rebel, back with another video. And today we're taking a look at Wan 3.0. Big thanks to Floyo for sponsoring the video.
Alright YouTube, what is good? It's your boy Rebel back with another video. Today we are going to be comparing Wan 3.0 to FLUX 3 video. Now, if you take a look at the current text-to-video leaderboards and image-to-video leaderboards, you will see that Wan 3.0 is at the top, being the strongest model in competition with all of the closed-source models available, actually beating out the new Gemini, OmniFlash, and Minimax. My personal belief is that FLUX 3 is actually the strongest model available, and I am going to put it to the test today against the top-of-the-line closed-source model so we can compare and see which one is better. So in order to test Wan 3.0 today, I will be using the Floyo.ai website, and this video is sponsored by them today. Floyo is a browser-based platform that lets you discover, build, and run comfy UI workflows with zero setup, meaning no local installing, no GPUs, and no configuration. This is built by Think Division Inc., and the creators run a cloud service on NVIDIA H100 GPUs, and this site is aimed at creators, studios, and enterprise teams doing image, video, VFX, and lore-based production. So they do have a plethora of models and workflows to choose from, along with some community workflows that you can check out as well. And they have an open source section that you can also use if you would like to utilize anything that is not available in API. And the cool thing about them is they offer flex time for just all around service. And then they have flex partner nodes so that you can utilize their API services. The best part about Floyo is that they do not charge you to run their browser-based application. You are only charged per generation. So if you sit and want to, reiterate a prompt and you don't want to, just quick shot generate videos on the fly, then this is better than RunPod for you because you're going to save a lot of money and not waste any time, trying to figure out what went wrong in your video or whatever the case is. This is going to be, a savior of your money. So for FLUX 3, I do have about 10,000 credits that I was gifted from being in early access with BFL, but I will not be using their API on the site today as I am still a member of their private Discord and I can test generations for free through early access, so I don't have to pay for anything and I won't be wasting credits that I have here today. So the API is currently available for FLUX 3 and it will be in open source at some point in the near future, so keep that in mind. This is technically going to be an open source weight model, which is why I'm comparing it against Wan 3.0, which is a closed source, because we want to see, where the top of the line on both sides are at today. So now we will be testing the image to video on both, as I want to give both models a clear directive on what we want for our output. So providing a prompt and an image will distinguish where both models want to take the output, and it'll give us kind of a better idea of the strengths and weaknesses behind both models. So we will start with Wan 3.0, and I will showcase how to use the Floyo website so you guys can get a good idea of how useful this is. So on the main models workflow page, you can see that there is a ton of models to choose from, and I will select this Wan 3.0 Prime image to video. And as you can see in the top right corner, it says open in the app. And when you highlight it, above it, it says launches the Floyo app with this workflow loaded and ready to run. Startup takes about 1 minute. So we will click this and begin. And as you can see, it's going to load up the workspace and prepare the workflow, load all the models into the H100 GPU for us. And just like that, it is up and running. So the cool thing about Floyo is it is very akin, if not identical, to Comfy UI. So you have all of your nodes and strings, and you have, all of the customization that's available in Comfy UI directly in this website without any external compute cost to you. It's slightly different as far as the UI setup goes. So your run button can be moved around. You can place it back up here if you prefer it up here. But as you can see on the left, we have our load image node. We have our Wan 3.0 partner node, which is an API node that would be in Comfy UI. And then we have our video URL to frames, a create video, and a save video node. And essentially that accounts for the workflow. There is some notes here if you need information on how to run the workflows, but if you guys are Comfy UI users, which a majority of you are, which is why you subscribe to me in the first place, this is all self-explanatory. So in our partner node, we have our prompt, we have our resolution, We have our ratio, aspect ratio for the output. We have our duration selector, and this model goes all the way up to 30 seconds, which is going to be interesting to see. And then you have your seed selector, so that is pretty much it. So I have a set of images and a set of prompts that I would like to test on both of these models, so let's get into that. Now, I will be limiting these prompts to 20 seconds as FLUX 3 only allows for a maximum of 20 seconds, so we will be keeping this as fair as possible. That being said, Wan 3.0 actually can generate up to 30 seconds, and I will share a couple of free generations at 30 seconds so you guys can understand how well it handles those generations. But for the comparison specifically, we will be limiting it to 20 seconds each. So here is a side-by-side comparison. We have on the left Wan 3.0 and on the right FLUX 3. So we will take a look at both of the videos now side by side.
He isn't coming back, is he?
Pretty solid. There is, however, some hallucination going on in prompt adherence where, there's some missteps that it didn't really follow correctly. The first thing being the shade closing and then the camera cut to her weeping. That's not in the prompt properly. So now we will take a look at the FLUX 3 gen.
He isn't coming back, is he?
If you ask me, I just consider the FLUX 3 to be a way better output overall, where I will say Wan delivers a very sharp and visually coherent character. I do think that FLUX 3 not only follows prompt adherence better, but handled the output and aesthetic of the generation a lot better. And here is our next image and prompt. We have this alien wearing a real Rebel AI hoodie in a subway, and the prompt is right here. You can pause and read it if you would like. Okay, so the next generation is finished for both, and we will take a look at the Wan model first.
Turktemskareb. They don't even know what that means. Humans are such amateurs.
Next stop, terminal. Transfer for the
Okay, so right off the bat, audio is very bad. I'm just going to be honest. The fidelity of the character, the quality of the character, very nice. Like very, very crispy, very coherent, but that audio is crazy. So we will take a look at the FLUX 3 model now.
Turktemskareb. They don't even know what that means. Humans are such amateurs. Next stop, terminal. Transfer for the...
For the FLUX variation, I will say the audio is a lot better. There is some weird camera cuts that occur there that don't really make sense, but overall, I do think, again, I would probably have to choose the FLUX generation over the Wan due to that audio. However, I do think the alien character has a lot more quality to it on the Wan output. So here is our next image and prompt. So you can pause and read this if you would like to. And so this one has finished. And so this generation took about 4 minutes on Wan. It was actually a lot faster on the FLUX model, but we will take a look at the Wan version first.
You think you can just come here and ask me these questions? You have no idea what you just started.
Right off the bat, very good generation. I was pretty pleased with how that came out. Audio's a little shifty again, but it's not that bad. So, and here is the FLUX version.
You think you can just come here and ask me these questions? You have no idea what you just started.
Okay, and the Flux version, I would say better audio again. The only thing is character consistency seems to be a little bit weaker on the Flux variation than the Wan variation. Wan really kept everything about the character intact, and it felt like the facial dimensions on the Flux variation just came out a little weird, especially here. You can kind of really see the difference in face if I show you. This is like the reference image anyways. In comparison, this is not the same person if you ask me. And here is our next prompt and image for input. So you can pause here and read the prompt if you would like. Okay, so here is our alien example here. And this is a really good showcase of dialogue between the two models. You'll get a really good understanding of how well they work. So we will start with the Wan model on the left.
First thing you gotta understand, we've been here the whole time. Nobody looks up. Nobody ever looks up. You, though, you look up. That's why we picked you.
So not bad. Audio was kind of wonky again, but the actual dialogue and lip sync was very spot on, and the quality of the output was very good. So we will now look at the Flux 3 output.
First thing you gotta understand, we've been here the whole time. Nobody looks up. Nobody ever looks up. You, though, you look up. That's why we picked you.
So for the Flux 3, I thought that was a lot better on the audio side, but the lip sync was a little bit weaker than the Wan model, and I was very surprised at that. So here is our next prompt and image, and you can pause here and get a look at this if you would like to read it. Okay, so here is our output, and we will look at the Wan variation first.
Okay, you have to see this. I'm not exaggerating. It's been like this for 20 minutes. All right, that's it. That's the video.
Very, very good output. Again, the audio was a little shifty, but I was very pleased with the output. And now we will take a look at the Flux 3 variant.
Okay, you have to see this. I'm not exaggerating. It's been like this for 20 minutes. All right, that's it. That's the video.
So I will say the Flux 3 generation was a lot more consistent with the style of the output, the sunset lighting, the character. There was less cuts and camera shifts. That being said, I do enjoy the sharpness and clarity of the output on Wan, and the lighting change when she was rotating was also a very nice touch. I was very pleased with both outputs. I'm not really sure which one I would go for on this. Maybe Flux for the consistency and the audio, but again, Wan has an extremely sharp output for 1080p. And here is our next reference image and prompt. You can pause here and read it if you would like. Okay, and here is our TV head output. So we will take a look at the Wan output first.
I have been standing here for 6 hours. Nobody has asked me why. Ask me why.
Okay, pretty standard. Audio again, a bit wonky, but it's still there. Now we will take a look at the Flux 3 output.
I have been standing here for 6 hours. Nobody has asked me why. Ask me why.
So a lot better of an output, admittedly. I do think that the FLUX output absolutely smashed this. It was perfect in pretty much every way. The audio was nice. The actual like modulated voice from the TV itself sounded way better than the Wan model, but that's just my opinion. Both are great outputs. However, I would choose the FLUX 3 output. All right, so here is our next reference image and prompt. You can pause it here and read. All right, so the generation is finished for both. We will take a look at the Wan 3.0 first.
Everybody wants the new toy. Nobody wants to ask who's holding the key to it. Because the second they take it back, you've got nothing. So build with what nobody can revoke.
Very good output. I'll say, you know, the quality of these outputs have all been phenomenal. The fidelity, the sharpness, you know, the character motion, emotion, everything is very good. The only thing I have to keep being consistent on is the audio. It is just very, very low quality. But we will take a look at the FLUX 3 video now.
Everybody wants the new toy. Nobody wants to ask who's holding the key to it. Because the second they take it back, you've got nothing. So build with what nobody can revoke.
Now, as far as that output, I did appreciate the audio in this a lot better on the FLUX generation. That being said, it does lack the quality and fidelity of the Wan generation. Like I had previously mentioned, you can kind of see some of the pitfalls of the image from the reference that I gave as the skin textures were not consistent. So I do appreciate Wan for its visual quality, but the audio quality in FLUX is just very top of the line. So, but all right, guys, that's all I'm going to have for you today. Just wanted to give this comparison and, you know, showcase the differences in open source and closed source right now, as I am a very firm believer in open source models only, and I don't believe in giving my money to an API or a company. But that being said, you know, maybe this Wan model is something that people will find useful or, you know, needed in their tool belts. I, however, prefer the FLUX 3 model and will be waiting for its release to mess around with it, as I am very excited to see what it's capable of on my hardware. But with that being said, you know, I mean, maybe this is for you. And if you do not have the funds to run a RunPod or a Comfy API, you can always check out Floyo at floyo.ai, and I will link this website in the description so you guys can check it out. It is a great place to, you know, save a little bit of money and get your high quality generations without, you know, the needed compute from your guys' PCs, because I know our community is a very low VRAM community. So finding things like this to be able to kind of take the pressure off of your job or your hobby can sometimes be helpful. So, but if you enjoyed what you saw today, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving me a comment on the video to let me know how I did. You can also like the video. It genuinely helps the channel tremendously. And I will also link my Buy Me a Coffee page in the description if you would like to support the channel and what we do here. But all right, guys, thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.